too busy worrying about, oh, I'm alone, nobody want to hang with me. Just bugging out. Then once Esau really shut down society how they want to, you really gonna have more alone time. There's a lot of people during the pandemic commit suicide. People attempting to commit suicide because they was lonely, but they weren't thinking about the good book.
A recent study found being lonely and socially isolated can contribute to the risk for heart disease, especially for older women. This morning, cardiologist and women's heart health specialist Dr. Amy Pollock joins us now to discuss that study's findings and how families can help their loved ones. Thank you so much for joining us.
And once again, like when I speak on certain topics too, I actually experience certain stuff. I've met a lot of women these past, years since I've been up here in Ohio. Even when I was in Florida, but since I've been up here, a lot of women be lonely as fuck, and suicidal, deranged, and bugged out. That's because they don't be focusing on what they're supposed to be focusing on. And then they be trying to be too manly and realize being a man take a lot of, oh, real man, I ain't talking about just no average nigga that's running around doing who knows what. Take a lot of discipline, order, honor, integrity. You gotta have morals, values, and principles, a lot of stuff that most people lack. So you can't manage all that stuff. A woman is not meant to do all that type of stuff. That's just what it is. But it's saying to bash them or nothing. It's just speaking on experience.
This morning.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So this study found women, particularly those likely in menopause, ages 65 and up, were more likely to develop heart disease, especially if they were feeling lonely or are isolated. Can you tell me the link between socialization and heart health?
Absolutely. And so this was a really important study, and it's interesting that this was done really over about a 10-year period from in the kind of the early 2010s. And so this was even before the pandemic, before this kind of more extreme social isolation and loneliness that folks have felt. So that social isolation is when you're not getting out there interacting with groups of people, with your support networks. And that loneliness is when you're not having that kind of one-on-one interaction. And they both are associated with the higher rates of heart attacks and strokes.
And of course, COVID has certainly made us stay socially distanced, but that's not the same. And what are we seeing happens to the heart in people who are less social?
So, we don't understand a lot of what drives that increased risk. We certainly know there are some important threads or themes. When folks are feeling more lonely and more socially isolated, they oftentimes aren't getting as much exercise.
Yeah, and then they be full of sorrow on top of that. Sorrow will weigh your ass down.
Which that lack of exercise is certainly bad for the heart and blood vessels. They may not be going to doctor's appointments. They may not be eating as healthy. They may not be taking care of themselves or paying attention to their symptoms that may be warning signs that there's something going on with their heart or blood vessels. And there's some interesting data to suggest there may be a higher level of this oxidative stress, inflammation in blood vessels that can lead to higher rates of heart disease and stroke.
And see, when I clicked on this, I didn't think this was just going to go in on the women. Like I said, I queued these few videos up so I can make them later. I ain't going to let the rest of this video play. But that's why the scriptures say, rise up, you women in our ease. Because at first, women was cool. Women's liberation and slut walking, all that shit. Once now reality hit and goodies started getting stripped away. And situation shift and change a little bit. Shit started settling in. Like, hold up. Now you got a lot more women. They really looking for a man now. That's why the book of Isaiah says 7 women should take hold of one man, saying we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by our name. They gon' want that. They gon' want that stability. They gon' want that information that a man has. Not foolish with information, not worldly information, but actually how to maneuver spiritual information. Knowing about current events and prophetic events. That's way more valuable than what most people realize. So you actually have that information and hold that. Man, don't let none of the nonsense distract you, throw you off course, and all that. Because the men that hold that, those, like I was watching the one video talking about high value men, money don't make you high value. It's how you really carry yourself. You ain't got, I seen some motherfuckers with hella money and they really be low value individuals. They just got substance, which is vanity. Now let me go to this in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4. Let me just read on down. It says, verse 1, so I return and consider all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they that had no comforter. And on the side of their oppressors there was power. They had no comforter, wherefore I praise the dead, which are already dead, more than the living, which are yet alive. Yeah, better is he that both they which have not yet been, who have not seen the evil work that is done under the sun. Again, I consider all travail and every right work, that for this a man is envy of his neighbor, which that definitely happens a lot, because they say you working, you just, you trying to live right, put in work, do what you're supposed to do. Hey, you gotta move in a certain manner. I ain't gonna say exactly how, but if you know, you know. You gotta move in a certain manner, because your fucking neighbor might be envying you. That's vanity and that's vexation. Now it says, that's why I say that money shit, without it, you're a certain way. With it, you're a certain way. It's all on how you really carry yourself and conduct yourself for real, will make you valuable. Now I said, this is also vanity and vexation of spirit. The fool foldeth his hands together and eateth his own flesh. Better is a handful with quietness than both hands full with travail and vexation of spirit. Once again, you have all them goodies, all them funds, and all that stuff. But if you vex, if your spirit vex, that shit don't mean nothing. Because you can't enjoy it. Too busy worrying about other stuff that's going on instead of actually enjoying yourself. That's vexation of spirit. Verse 7 it says, then I returned, I saw vanity under the sun. There is one alone, and there is not a second. Yeah, he hath neither child nor brother, yet is there no end of all his labor. Neither is his eye satisfied with riches. Neither saith he, for whom do I labor, and bereave my soul of good. Because you have people that actually live like this. They ain't got no kids, and no family members or nothing. They just alone, running companies and shit. It says, this is also vanity. Yeah, it is a sore travail. Verse 9, it says, there are two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their labor. Or they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for either have not another to help him up. Again, the two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? Hey, once again, a lot of women realizing this too. I had to go do some heating up recently with that side joke. It says, and if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him, and the threefold cord is not quickly broken. That's why it's good to have good bonds. Do good to people. Because later on down the line, hey, you might need a little assistance, you might need some help. And they're going to remember what you did for them. I'm not saying just do stuff so you can have some favors later, but do it with good intentions. Now verse 13 it says, better is a poor and a wise child than an old foolish king, who will no more be admonished, for out of prison he cometh to reign, whereas also he that is born in his kingdom becometh poor. I consider all the living which walk under the sun with a second child that should stand up in his stead. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit. So you ain't really put your trust in the Most High. If you're not really applying this stuff, you're gonna be vexed. You're gonna be stressed the fuck out. No matter how much money you get, you're still a part of Esau's system. You still gotta go by their rules, regulations, and all that stuff. So if you don't have that peace, hey, you should search for it at this moment and hold on to it. It's in the book of, go to some more precepts real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 25, verse 13. This is in the Apocrypha. It says, give me any plague but the plague of the heart, like this video is talking about. Because you could deal with something else. You might have, nose running and shit, headaches sometimes. But you don't want that plague of the heart. Now it says, any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. And when you go back in the book of, I think it's Proverbs, if I'm not mistaken, let me go to this before I end this up. It says a wicked woman is a portion of a wicked man. So, you know, Akim is getting delivered from these women. Delivered. Man, let me see. Man, count that as a dodging a bullet. That count as a blessing. Cause I see a lot of dudes go through shit because of these wicked women. Well, let me find this precept real quick. Let me make sure I just find this for edification. Give me 1 minute. So I know in my heart sometimes I forget some of the verses, the actual numbers, but the wording I don't forget it. Okay, it wasn't in the book of Proverbs, it's like it's in the book of Ecclesiastes. It says a wicked woman is given as a portion to a wicked man. So if you got a wicked ass chick that's stressing you the fuck out and putting you through hell, you gotta check yourself. Because even though, you know, us as men, we get on women about stuff that they do, you gotta look in the mirror and see what you do, how you carry yourself. Because if the Most High in your corner, He gonna make sure you don't even have to deal with none of that. It says, but a godly woman is given to him that feareth the Lord. So if you really desire a woman, that's what you want. You want a godly woman, a woman that's humble, peaceful. She listens, she understands, got some patience. She cooking, she cleaning, all that stuff that a woman's supposed to do. You don't want that wicked woman cussing you out, calling you a nigga, and trying to smack the shit out you and all that. Let me see, let me go to the month's precepts real quick. End this off. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 22. It says, cast thy burden upon the Lord, and He shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. And that's dealing with financial issues, relationship issues, mental health issues, all that stuff. If you're trying to be righteous, you ain't gonna be moving, man. The weight of this world ain't gonna be nothing to lift, so I just want to bring this out. I don't want to righteous out, this edifying. Call all Yahawah, Shalom, Shalom, to the left.